Know what to eat, but find yourself not eating it. Perhaps you've been on diets and off again and just wonder why you can't stick to them. The Eating For You podcast, hosted by me, Sallyanne Pisk, will show you what's been missing so you can enjoy a healthier way of eating that lasts. Welcome back to the Eating For You podcast, and Series 6 is going to be packed with even more evidence-based and practical tips to help you eat in a way that truly nourishes you. I'm Sallyanne, your host and guide on this journey towards a kinder, calmer, more empowered relationship with food. As we come to the end of the year, it's tempting to look back through a very black and white lens. Did I succeed? Did I fail? Did I do enough? Today, I want us to put that lens aside completely. Instead, this episode is a celebration of you, a celebration of what you've achieved, what you've learned, and even when things didn't go to plan, those moments can be so insightful and become so empowering. So, settle in, take a deep breath, and let's gently reflect on your year with compassion, curiosity, and a whole lot of kindness. From talking with my clients and even my own experience in the past, I know once you have your annual planner or your journal in your hands, it's tempting to imagine the year unfolding in a lovely straight line. You know, you just tick the box, the checklist, the plans, the commitments. This year, in particular, I was reminded it doesn't work this way. In fact, this is the first year in over 10 years that I didn't set any annual goals. I reflect on 2025 and the words that come to mind are uncertainty, low personal energy levels, and transition. At the beginning of the year, my energy levels were around about 4 or 5 out of 10. And this was following several months of helping my mum relocate interstate to live with us, helping my sister sell my mum's home, and trying to navigate the very complicated aged care system, even with the help of a very lovely and competent aged care specialist at Centrelink. I still found that whole process really exhausting, both mentally and physically. And I'm sure if you've been through this or you know someone who has, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On top of that, there's great uncertainty around your parents' forever home. There's a waiting list for rooms in aged care facilities. And of course, you know that a room is only going to become available when someone else moves on. So it's very difficult to plan with all of this uncertainty, or certainly plan 12 months ahead. It wasn't until my mum was settled in her new home that I could start extending my goal setting beyond a week to a month and then to quarterly. And I'll be sharing more about setting goals in an episode in the new year, because today's episode is all about the power of reflection. We have to remember that it's quite normal that some of our plans unfold so well. It's like the universe has aligned and supported our goal. Some call it synchronicity. Other plans have twists and turns and perhaps even go completely off the rails. And sometimes unexpected opportunities just appear out of nowhere. And an opportunity for me to invest in my health this year came from a very unexpected source. My mum was diagnosed earlier this year as having a basal cell carcinoma on her lower eyelid of her left eye. And this was a big decision for our family to make because mum turned 90 this year and the operation was quite involved. We did decide for mum to have the operation, and thankfully it all went smoothly, and I have to express my gratitude for her ophthalmologist as well for the outcome of this surgery. But it did also remind me that I hadn't had a skin check in many years, And it turned out I hadn't had one for 12 years. And what that led to is me recently having a melanoma removed from my leg. In the past, I could have been quite critical of myself, saying, why did you leave it so long? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? Etc., etc. You probably are familiar with that voice in your own head sometimes. But I just was thankful that the melanoma is still in situ. It's still a local issue, not widespread, and that I have great faith in the practitioner who's helping me work through this. So it's just a reminder that life does have twists and turns, and we have many opportunities to invest in our health and well-being. There is no point reflecting on what could have been. We just work with what information and support we have in this moment. Goals and achieving them are really not about a measure of perfection. They're a compass. They help us set a direction. They're a guide and not a rule book. Having said that, having annual checks is certainly part of my annual health plan now after my experience with the melanoma. Life will always shape the journey that we have with our goals, and being mindful allows us to go with the flow of life. We recognise what we have control over, also those things we cannot influence. I don't believe in wasting time or energy, and the practice of mindfulness has really helped me direct my focus and invest in those activities and pursuits that will deliver the results that I'm looking for. So as we reflect together today, let's do it through the eyes of self-compassion rather than judgment. Let's start by celebrating the things that did work this year, no matter how big or small. Maybe you made progress with a personal goal, so acknowledge this and celebrate it. Perhaps you built in consistency around a health habit, and one of my goals was returning to a daily morning meditation practice because I recognise that it is so important for my overall health and well-being. Maybe you created some more space for yourself for a self-care ritual. One of my clients has managed to carve out some time between getting home from work and starting that evening meal preparation. She's established a breathing meditation practice, and what this has done is allowed her to re-energise herself from her day of work without reaching for a chocolate bar. Maybe you have just simply survived a really tough year. And I know for some of my clients who have multiple health conditions, they can have flare-ups, they can have changes with medications and swings and roundabouts with their energy levels. And being able to just sit back and observe with self-compassion when these flare-ups occur is so liberating, and it is worth celebrating. So now I want you to ask yourself, what has helped me move forward? Did I create time for this? Did I reach out for help or guidance? Did I stay connected to the deeper reason behind the goal? This kind of reflection provides motivation, but also it helps you understand what you can achieve when you're supported, you have the resources you need, and you feel aligned. In mindful eating, this is exactly what we want. Goals that feel like they flow, not goals that feel like a fight. Now let's gently turn towards the goals that didn't unfold in the way that you imagined. And this is where self-compassion becomes essential, because unmet goals do not equal failure. And if you haven't tuned in to my short training on self-compassion, I really recommend that you do. And this free training is available on the Eating for You YouTube channel. And I've provided a link with this episode's notes. Goals that don't work out simply show you where you are overcommitted, perhaps where life demanded your attention elsewhere, where expectations may have been too high, or where you needed more guidance, support, or clarity than you realised. This year, my goal of weekly walks in nature has been replaced by 2 sessions of weightlifting to rebuild bone. I was diagnosed earlier this year with quite advanced osteopenia, which is the thinning of the bones. And I must say that this diagnosis did come as a bit of a shock to me. And I did share this in an earlier episode during Healthy Bones Week with Professor Belinda Beck. But what it's mean is that my priority has become these twice a week training sessions. It doesn't mean that I never go for a bushwalk, but my priorities have altered. And because this is a lifelong journey, this is a lifelong commitment for me. But during the time of me recovering from my melanoma operation, for example, I'm not able to do the weightlifting, and I accept that and just will return to my training once I am able to. If you have a health goal that you didn't achieve, but it remains a priority for you, ask yourself, why is this goal still important to me? Did I realistically have the capacity this year to achieve this goal? Did I need more time, more information, or support? It's so important to remember that for many women, especially in midlife, we're trying to do everything by ourselves. But consistent change rarely happens in isolation. It happens with support, structure, and community. So if support was missing for you this year, then please email me. Tell me about your situation and we'll see what we can do to make 2026 a different year for you. The link to my contact page is provided with this episode's notes. There may also be goals that you consciously chose to let go of this year. Maybe your priorities shifted. Maybe the goal no longer felt important. Maybe you realised that it wouldn't give you the benefits that you'd hoped for. Or maybe you just simply didn't have the interest or capacity anymore. Letting go of a goal is not giving up. It is a mindful act of self-awareness. You're saying, this no longer aligns with who I am or what I need, and that's okay. This is all about us growing and evolving, and mindfulness really does help us stay connected to what truly nourishes and supports us. Before we move forward, I want to highlight something that's really powerful. Self-compassion is one of the strongest predictors of lasting behaviour change. Not motivation, not willpower, not perfection. Self-compassion helps you understand your patterns, reduce guilt, keep going after setbacks, and make choices from self-care rather than self-criticism. As I'd mentioned earlier, if you'd like to understand more about how self-compassion can reshape your eating habits, I've created a YouTube training called Why You Can't Stick to Healthy Eating and How Self-Compassion Helps. You'll find the link to it in this episode's notes, and it is really a perfect companion to this episode. Also, I want to gently emphasize here that if some of your goals didn't come about because you were overwhelmed, confused, or trying to manage everything by yourself, you're certainly not alone. Seeking help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a strength. It's also an investment in yourself. Your health, well-being, and peace with food are worthy of support. Women are conditioned to push through, but that approach rarely leads to lasting change. Support helps you break cycles, find clarity, and feel empowered rather than exhausted and overwhelmed. So before we wrap up this episode, I want to share a resource that can make an immediate difference, especially as we move through the festive season. The popular and practical workshop called Know Your Eating Triggers to Avoid Christmas Weight Gain is available as a recording. This training helps you identify your personal eating triggers, understand why certain foods or situations lead to overeating. It helps reduce emotional and mindless eating, helps you to stay calm and in control around the festive food, and to enjoy celebrations without guilt or restriction. In summary, this 60-minute workshop helps you understand why losing direction or motivation with your eating habits or weight gain at Christmas time can be prevented. It will help you pinpoint your natural weight fluctuations that don't contribute to excess weight gain, so you don't have to worry about this. But most importantly, identify your personal festive season eating triggers so you can stop non-hunger eating in social and stressful situations. And the best part, you can get all of this right now by purchasing the workshop replay. It's perfect if you want practical, compassionate tools that work without dieting, without rules, and without shame. You'll find the link to purchase the workshop replay in the show notes. Now, you might be thinking, Sallyanne, what about setting goals for next year? Wonderful question. And we're absolutely going to explore that, but not today. I want to give you the space to reflect first, because goal setting without reflection often leads to overwhelm, unrealistic plans, and diet culture thinking. There's also the temptation to just keep doing what doesn't work. So in early 2026, we'll have a full episode dedicated to choosing eating goals that are realistic, knowing whether a goal is right for you, and setting yourself up for a calm, sustainable year ahead. Stay tuned, because it's going to be a very beautiful and empowering conversation. So if you haven't subscribed to our podcast yet, do so you don't miss this episode. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this. You are not defined by what you completed or didn't complete this year. Your worth is not measured by productivity, and your eating goals are not a test of discipline. This year has shaped you, it has taught you, and you have grown and changed more than you probably realise. Celebrate what you have achieved, acknowledge your expectations, and offer yourself compassion for the goals that didn't unfold. Thanks for joining me for this reflective episode, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey this year. You have been listening to the Eating For You podcast with Sallyanne Pisk. If a long-term way of healthier eating is of interest to you, then make sure you subscribe to our podcast.